Despite how I or many others may feel about the direction Insomniac has taken Spider-Man with Spider-Man 2, you cannot deny the utter success of this game. The majority of the reviews are extremely positive towards this game, and this game went on to become the PlayStation 5's fastest launch day seller of all time. Now, I know we can sit here and argue that there's not really that many PlayStation 5 exclusive games, because there isn't. However, its success is undeniable. So what would be the correct direction for Insomniac to go after this? Come out and announce a wave of DLCs, or the fact that they might do a Venom spin-off game, or that they're hard at work on the upcoming Wolverine game, which we know is going to be set in the same universe, or how they're already sitting down and they're already mapping out how they're going to do Spider-Man 3? No, they make the genius decision, the incredible foresight to come in and say, hey, let's make Miles Morales our main spider going forward. Before we go on, be sure to subscribe to the channel and leave a thumbs up on the video if you are enjoying it, and if you don't like it, leave a thumbs down. Now listen, I'm going to make this very simple. This has been said a million times, and because of this, it's going to be said another million times. Peter Parker is Spider-Man, Miles Morales is Miles Morales. I'll also throw in a quick little personal note here. Despite the fact I've never really been a fan of Miles Morales, I will admit the most I've ever liked the character was on the PlayStation 4 Spider-Man game, and in the first Into the Spider-Verse movie, whatever it was called. I never saw the second one, don't care. But that's the most I've ever actually liked the character of Miles Morales. So you could argue that Insomniac has actually done quite a bit of positivity for this character. Now they're going to attempt to push him to the main spotlight ahead of Peter Parker, which, quite honestly, I don't see people accepting this very positively. People love Spider-Man, and when you think of Spider-Man, you think of Peter Parker. Don't lie to yourself. Now, in a recent interview with Gizmodo, Insomniac's Ben Affleck, I think is how you pronounce his name. Anyway, he's the narrative director, and Brittany Morris, the advanced writer, divulging super-sized stack of spoilers, including who Insomniac Games sees as being the primary Spider-Man now. Their own words. Primary Spider-Man. In the interview, Morrow spoke to the notion of Miles taking up the mantle of the main Spider-Man, succeeding his master, Peter Parker. The quote reads, "It always felt very natural, and I think all the collective thought it would happen. To me, it shows a great deal of evolution from Miles. At the beginning of the game, we see him struggling to figure out what he wants to do with his life. By the end, we had Miles carrying the burden of saving the city and also carrying Pete when Pete wasn't strong enough to carry himself at various points." So Affleck then backed up the comments by saying it always felt like the only way the game could end. So for those of you who don't know how Spider-Man 2 ends, to me it kind of came across as pretty obvious that they were going to be semi-retiring Peter Parker to push Miles Morales into the main spotlight.
Pete. Wait, let me start again. I got this.
However, I guess it's possible you could argue that going into the third Spider game, the big reveal would be, hey, Miles is over his head with Dr. Octopus and Green Goblin just running amok in New York City, and we have to go back to Peter Parker. Maybe that's the way they're going to play this, but with the way they're describing him as the primary Spider-Man for their universe going forward, I'm starting to think that's not the case at all. Miles Morales is going to take this spotlight away from Peter Parker. Now, I'm sure the Miles Morales stans on Twitter are absolutely loving this, because Twitter seems to be the only place you can find genuine Miles Morales fans. I'm not saying they don't exist, but like I said, you go up to a person down the street, run up to them and say, who is Spider-Man? 9 out of 10 of them are going to say Peter Parker. However, on the flip side of that, if you did genuinely enjoy this game, I don't see a problem with that whatsoever. My friend Fear the Beardo, who I do my weekly gaming podcast with over on my gaming channel, link in the description down below, he did genuinely enjoy this game, and while I think a lot of the things he said about him liking this game, I don't agree with whatsoever, at least he can admit he likes the game. If you like the game, you like the game. There's no problem with that. Being honest that you like it, especially with all the bullshit that went down with Hogwarts Legacy where everyone was fake as fuck about that, at least he can admit he liked it. So if you like the game and you like Miles, there's no problem whatsoever. Now, while I personally think there is a place for Miles Morales in these games, for him to become the primary Spider-Man, at what stage is these games becoming false advertisement? When you see the word Spider-Man on your game and you're playing as Mary Jane being overpowered, wiping out symbiotes, and now you have Miles Morales as the primary Spider-Man, maybe it's time we call the third Spider-Man game Miles Morales featuring Peter Parker at some stage, maybe in the plotline. I do believe that people such as myself that had a problem with the direction of the story of this game, this was a worry that they would eventually go down this route. And being modern day Insomniac, can we say we're actually really surprised this is what they're doing with the Spider-Man IP? So I guess this opens up the following question. We know that Insomniac is working on a Wolverine game. What's the bet? X23 is going to come in and take the spotlight, and they're going to push X23 as the primary Wolverine in the Insomniac universe. I feel like they've had one really good game with the first PlayStation 4 Spider-Man game, and it's been downhill ever since then. It is, however, unfortunately looking like the golden age of superhero video games and movies are well and truly behind us, unless there's one that could save us.
Gwen, there's more of them.
Thank you! Die already!
Nope, that trash is going to be the worst one of the lot. There's no two ways around that. That game's going to be terrible.